In 2022, two writers came together to finish what Universal Studios couldn't. A cinematic universe of monster movies called the Dark Universe. After 3 years and 30 scripts, their project was finally completed. Now, in 2025, they're back to attempt what's never been done before, a completely original cinematic universe entirely in podcast form. I'm Dalton DeShane.
And I'm Dylan Roth.
And you are now entering the Pod Universe.
Welcome back to the Pod Universe, the podcast where we attempt to create the first ever cinematic Hold on, let me try that again. I don't have it written down. I'm going off the dome already. No.
I have it right here.
I don't want to see it. Welcome back to the Pod Universe, the podcast where we attempt to create the world's first all-original cinematic universe of sci-fi movies, one pitch at a time. Did I get it?
Pretty close.
I am your devious, mysterious host, Dalton DeShane.
And I'm your zany, unhinged, unpredictable host, Dylan Roth.
I feel like, no, we should... This was much easier when we could just be like wolfmen and mummies and shit. Now we're dealing with like scientific concepts. I don't know what to be. We don't even have anything established. We don't know what people...
No, but why don't we just be who we are, Dalton? That's what I was being when I said that I was the zany and unpredictable host.
All right. Anyway, welcome back to the show. We've got a rocky start here, but hopefully you're already bought in after part one of Pod People.
Someone sat through 90 minutes of the first episode and then 90 minutes of the second episode, and this is where we lose them right here.
Yeah, when we can't think of who we are.
Yeah, just for being too zany and unpredictable.
Welcome back. We are here to answer your burning questions that you've been left with for an entire week. Maybe you figured it out. Maybe you are actually like, I don't even need to listen because I know exactly what's going on here. But we're actually going to torture you for a little while longer before we get to those answers.
I guess we should recap a little bit of what's come before, if we can do it carefully without spoiling any of what's ahead.
Yes, we should recap. We should give a previously on the Pod Universe, which we should get in the habit of doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's tough starting a whole new thing to know what to talk about.
Yeah, you know what? You're all along this ride with us.
We got Popeyes between episodes.
We did. I let my hair down.
We talked about our plans for the Dark Universe theme park, which,
that's right.
As you're listening to this, we will be departing for in just a matter of days.
Yeah. Our flight's leaving right now.
Dylan is mostly interested in the coasters, I have found out.
Yeah, I mean, we've talked about that a little bit. You are a theme parks person.
Yes.
And I'm an amusement parks person.
Yeah.
Whereas, I'm from Jersey, and we have Great Adventure, which is basically all coasters and very little theming. And that, in my head, is what you go to do. You go to get strap into a weird machine and go voom, and then you get dehydrated, and you say that was great, and you rehydrate, you wait in line for an hour, and you do it again. But in between, you're mostly just bullshitting with your friends.
We're going to get Dylan into the narrative dark ride fandom. Actually, you know what? I'm going to ask you this. Bless you.
Hello.
Sarah's here. Pay no attention. I'm going to ask you this on air because I was talking to Sarah about this. I'm worried about this when we go.
Okay.
How do you do with water rides?
I'm fine with them.
Good. Because we will be riding the water rides.
Of course.
Okay, good.
Dalton was convinced that you would not.
I was not convinced. I was concerned. Some people are hard, no water rides people. They don't like getting wet at a theme park.
No, I'm fine with it.
Okay, but you brought it up out of nowhere.
Because I'm worried about it. Doesn't mean I don't think it's going to happen. It's
one
a
of
concern.
the things that binds us together as a team and as friends is that
water.
We're worried about stuff.
Yeah.
We worry about things all the time.
People.
Yes.
You're going to get soaked on the Popeye ride.
Good.
Yeah.
I would be disappointed if I didn't.
If Popeye didn't soak you.
I'm getting soaked on the Popeye ride.
All right.
Can we go to cameras? Can we go to see camera, please? Thank you.
All right. Anyway, let's try to recap Pod People for people that have forgotten.
All right, so we got two main characters here. One of them is Vincent Estrella, with whom we have fantasy cast Justice Smith. He is I guess sort of like a greenhorn computer programmer, right?
He's just graduated from
grad school or
yeah.
college, and he's interviewing for a job. But in his past, there's sort of the specter of his father having been a big tech company bigwig. And something happened where he left the company kind of in the lurch. very suddenly after an experiment didn't turn out well.
His father, Christian, played by Antonio Banderas, was the CTO for a company called Alterr, with 2 R's at the end, that were trying to crack quantum computing, which is very hard to do. And his big experiment failed, and then his wife, Vincent's mom, got cancer. And so he quit his job, and while taking care of his wife, him and Vincent got closer. They bonded for the first time in their lives.
And so all of
came
that
to terms with his queerness a bit more.
Yeah. And so what's kind of putting all this in jeopardy is that suddenly Christian gets very sick, like body horror sick. His ankle turns to chalk.
Yes, essentially.
And he falls, and he's got what seems like radiation poisoning.
Christian is in the hospital, and then suddenly he's fine, and he shows up at Alterr convinced that he is still the CTO.
Yeah,
and
he's
also
kinda mean now.
He's mean now, and he's homophobic.
Yeah, it's like all the progress that they made since he left the company is kind of like gone.
Yes. Meanwhile, our other main character, Stephanie Lee, played by Chase Sui Wonders. She's a quantum computer engineer.
Yeah, and she actually worked on the project with Christian that didn't turn out right. And from that point on, really her career has definitely at least plateaued, if not plummeted, because quantum computing is now kind of starting to already fall out of fashion as a project.
But she was fired from Alterr after that project. Now she works at a place called Quantitude, and she hired Vincent. And she gets a call from her old boss, who still works at Alterr, named Alec. And when she goes to meet with him, she finds that he is also the victim of massive radiation poisoning, and he dies at her feet.
Yeah, he falls apart.
But not before saying that their experiment actually worked,
but not here. What the hell does that mean, Dalton?
What does that mean?
Meanwhile, weird stuff happening with Vincent, his boyfriend Liam, and Liam's roommate Kinney, who maybe melts in their bathroom, but then shows up at Alterr as their new VP of marketing or something.
So people are getting replaced. Stephanie and Vincent think it's clones. They go to the police. The police seem to be in on it. So they sneak into Alterr, the place where they did that experiment at Alterr, to try to find some information. Instead, they find some security guards, one of whom seems to recognize Vincent, even though Vincent doesn't recognize him. They go back to the garden where Vincent works and find a pod, a big glowing orb that has been slowly poisoning Vincent, it seems.
Mm-hmm. Has no effect on Stephanie.
Yes. And meanwhile, there's a mysterious lady named Penny, who we don't really know anything about, except that she tells Stephanie to take Vincent and get him far away from there before being taken into custody by Christian and his goons.
Christian knows her. They clearly have some prior relationship. And our last moment there, as Stephanie is getting Vincent, the sickly Vincent, out of the garden area, something emerges from the pod that was in the garden. And Christian says, "Congratulations, it's a boy." Turns out that inside the pod is Vincent himself.
Huh? Now we have a second Vincent. Sarah, did that all make sense?
Yeps.
Great. Then I guess it was clear.
Sarah's also got her own shit going on over there.
Yeah, I know. She's
editing some video.
What are you working on? You're scrolling Blue Sky. All right, cool.
Listen, none of this needs to be in the show.
We told her she didn't need to pay attention.
Yeah, she's helping us out. She's doing some voices. She's got her own thing going on.
Yeah, I just like putting her in the spotlight.
Yeah, but not on camera.
cut to see camera.
All right. With all that said, shall we dive back into the second half of Act 2 of Pod People?
Let's do it. Fade in on Vincent's face, looking tired and jaundiced. He wakes up slowly, his head leaning against the inside of a car door. Someone's buckled him in. He looks over at the driver's seat. Stephanie stares ahead down the freeway, knuckles tight on the steering wheel. The sun's coming up on the horizon ahead.
Stephanie?
Vincent. Thank God. I thought maybe you were dead.
Vincent struggles to sit up. Only now does he notice there's a plastic bag full of snacks and energy drinks in his lap.
How long was I out?
14 hours. There's a water in there for you, by the way, and a Cinnamon Toast Crunch bar.
I'm not hungry. I feel terrible.
Well, let me know if you need to throw up and I'll pull over.
Vincent looks around the car. It's an old sedan from the early 2000s. There's a bunch of Catholic paraphernalia scattered around with Spanish text on them.
Whose car is this?
I have no idea. It's the first thing I saw that I thought I could hotwire.
Why do you know how to hotwire a car?
Please, dude, I'm a genius. I know how to do all kinds of shit.
Vincent looks out the window and sees a road sign that reads, New Mexico, 60 miles.
Where are we going?
My sister's place. Figured I should put as many miles between us and Alterr HQ as possible. And it's probably the last place anyone would look for me.
Cut to a well-to-do suburban neighborhood in New Mexico. It's a company town, and that company is Longbow Aerospace, backbone of the American military-industrial complex. Finally, we arrive at the driveway of a 3-story Tudor with a well-manicured lawn and 2 leased cars in the driveway. Stephanie parks at the curb. She looks over at Vincent, awake but in sorry shape, and lets out a labored sigh. Ding dong! We're at the front door now. It swings open, revealing Sam, a well-dressed woman a bit older than Stephanie, portrayed in the film by Maya Erskine. Her face immediately drops.
You're shitting me.
Steph stands alone on the front steps. Behind her and across the front lawn, we can see the car parked at the curb, Vincent's head leaning against the passenger side window within.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Traditionally, this is how conversations begin.
Fucking shut up.
Sam steps forward and throws her arms around Stephanie, who cringes a bit at first, then, finally, hugs her back. Sam rocks her sister back and forth, her eyes closed.
I missed you.
Sam opens her eyes, looks across the lawn, and catches a glimpse of Vincent.
Holy shit, is that guy dead?
Cut to inside the house. Vincent lies back on a nice leather couch while Sam hovers over him, shining a light in his eyes. Behind her, Stephanie paces back and forth. Sam puts away the flashlight and folds her hands in front of her. She addresses Vincent.
The bad news is you're suffering from some sort of acute radiation poisoning. It's like nothing I've ever seen or even read about, to be honest. I don't know what's happening to you, and it's weird for me not to know things, at least when it comes to radiation.
Vincent rolls his eyes.
Oh my God, there's 2 of them. But don't worry, Vincent. You're in good hands here. I'm just going to step into the kitchen with Steffi, and we'll put our heads together and work the problem.
Sam grabs Stephanie by the arm and leads her around a corner into a beautiful modern kitchen.
Okay, what's next?
Oh, he's going to die.
What?
100%. That kid is shriveled bacon.
The fuck is wrong with you?
Shh, keep your voice down. There's no reason he needs to know. He's got maybe 48 hours to live, and all we can do is make him comfortable.
Stephanie grits her teeth, looks like she's about to slap her sister across the face, then smacks the wall instead. She stifles a scream and then slumps into a chair at the kitchen table. Elbows on the table, she buries her head in her hands. Sam lays a hand on her shoulder.
Tell me everything I missed.
Cut to Vincent, shivering on the couch in the fetal position. His phone lies on the leather next to him. It starts to buzz, lighting up his face. Unknown number. With one shaky finger, he answers on speaker.
Hello? Hi, Vincent.
The voice is familiar, extremely familiar. Vincent turns a paler shade of yellow.
Who is this? You know who I am. I think we should meet.
Vincent hits the red hang-up button like he's trying to buzz in first on Jeopardy. Then, for good measure, he turns his phone off entirely. Cut to Stephanie and Sam sitting across from each other at the dinner table, drinking coffee.
I know it all sounds insane, but I didn't know where else to go or who to trust.
Sam extends a hand to her sister.
It means a lot that you came to me.
Sam, however much you want to make it up to me, there's no way you can ever make it up to Mom. And there never will be.
I did what I thought was best for her.
Right.
She wouldn't have liked it here.
In a big house with a fucking Nancy Meyers kitchen?
On a Longbow Aerospace property. She was emailing me articles about drone strike casualties even after she'd forgotten my fucking name. Do you understand? Her habit of guilting me actually outlived her love for her oldest daughter.
Maybe she would have remembered you if you ever visited the home you stashed her in. She never forgot my name.
Oh, please. You were her favorite from the day you were born. That's why she steered you towards a field she respected. It just gave her an excuse to treat you better than me.
Yeah, well, look, Mom, no body count. All she wanted was for us to do some good in the world. And instead, you...
Sam shakes her head, closer to laughing than losing her temper.
Oh, Jesus. I don't know why I thought this would be any different. But even now, even here, you're still a patronizing, holier-than-thou little brat. You actually have no idea how stupid you sound right now.
Yeah, I must be the world's dumbest quantum engineer.
You have no idea. And you know what? You're lucky not to know. Because I don't think you could live with yourself if you did.
If I knew what?
that your life's work has caused more death and destruction than mine ever will.
Before Stephanie can respond to this, Sam's phone buzzes. She checks it and sighs.
I have a Zoom meeting.
Sam casually gets up from the table, taking her coffee with her. On her way out, she adds,
You and your friend should stay for dinner. It'll be a fun surprise for Maria to see her Aunt Steffi again.
Stephanie sits alone in the kitchen, overwhelmed. After a moment, Vincent slumps into the room, still looking rough, but at least well enough to be on his feet.
What happened to you?
I honestly don't know.
She looks up at him.
What happened to you?
Vincent slowly holds up his cell phone.
I got a really weird phone call.
Cut to Stephanie opening the trunk of her stolen car and lifting out a heavy bag full of laptops. Cut back to the living room of Sam's house. Vincent lies on the couch working on one laptop while Sam sits on the floor nearby, leaning against the couch, working on another.
Almost done with this one.
Any leads?
No, I'll take the next one as soon as you've cracked it.
Without looking behind her, Stephanie hands the open laptop over to Vincent.
Done.
Vincent accepts the new laptop, then closes the one he's been working on and drops it behind the couch, where it lands with a clack of plastic and thin brushed steel. Behind the couch, there is a messy pile of laptops discarded like empty pizza boxes during a party. Stephanie picks up another laptop from a more orderly pile in front of her and goes to work. Vincent's bloodshot eyes light up.
Whoa. Jackpot.
Vincent swivels the laptop around for Steph to see. There's a virtual sticky note on the user's desktop boasting a long list of passwords to different services.
Thank God for boomers.
Cut to a dimly lit command center type room on a corporate office floor. There are rows of computers manned by an assortment of nondescript programmers. One of them sees an alert on his screen. He raises his hand.
I got something. A login from one of the missing laptops.
A figure approaches over his shoulder, then leans into frame. It's Frankenstein.
Where?
You won't believe our luck, Chief.
Frankenstein looks down at the screen and smiles.
I'll lock it down.
A hand reaches into frame, landing on Frankenstein's shoulder. He looks up, and so do we. It's Alec, alive and well. Wait, let's see if he finds anything. Crossfade to Vincent working on the laptop, Stephanie over his shoulder behind the arm of the couch.
There are a lot of databases here, but I don't see anything labeled cloning or doppelganger. Too many use cases for duplicate or replacement to be a useful search term.
Try your name.
Me?
The police chief thought you were part of this, remember? See if your name's in any of the files.
Vincent performs a search. There's a hit. A database file simply labeled
P-O-D.
Pod. At Alterr, we called our teams pods, like a family of whales.
Vincent opens the file. It's a matrix of data, dozens of columns wide and thousands of rows long. We snap to a highlighted row headed by Estrella, Vincent. Vincent reads the rest of his row of data.
This is my old address.
Now Vincent notices that the row above it has the same address. He follows the row back to the name column, Estrella Christian. This doesn't surprise Vincent and Stephanie one bit. But one column up, Estrella Allison.
Why is my mom on this?
What's in the rest of these columns?
After the more basic info, addresses, birth dates, blood types, there are three more curious ones. Class, mode, status. Vincent follows these columns down into his row and highlights each relevant cells. Name, Estrella, Vincent. Class, stockholder.
Stockholder? Did you ever hold any Alterr stock?
I've never held any stock.
Mode, replacement.
Well, that scans. They definitely mean to replace you.
Status, deduplication in progress.
Deduplication? What does that mean?
Behind Vincent, Stephanie looks down. Should she tell him? Vincent examines the row above. Name, Estrella Christian. Class, stockholder. Mode, replacement. Status, complete.
Whatever they've done to my father, they've finished doing it.
I'm really sorry, Vincent.
Burying any grief for the time being, he looks at the next row up. Estrella, Allison. Class, dependent. Mode, upgrade. Status, complete.
None of this makes any sense.
Cut to the command center. Alex stands over Frankenstein's shoulder, watching a mirror of Vincent's laptop display. Call it in. Back to the couch.
Search for my name.
Vincent searches for Lee, Stephanie. No result. Stephanie isn't ready to relax.
Let's check manually, just to be safe. Sometimes people misspell it.
Vincent scrolls through a long list of rows for the surname Lee. In between Lee Sukwook and Lee Stephen, there is no one. Now she can finally exhale. She leans forward on the arm of the couch. While our eyes are still on her,
Wait.
Stephanie takes a sharp breath. When she looks up, Vincent has his finger pointed at another row of data. Name, Lee, Samantha. Address, 38 Hornick Pass, Longbow, New Mexico. Class, client. Mode, replacement. Status, complete. Stephanie gasps and stumbles towards the kitchen and right into someone. Sam. Stephanie screams. Sam stands casually, holding a phone to her ear.
Yeah, I got her.
Cut to the command center. Frankenstein's on the other line.
We appreciate it. Our team should be there shortly. Sorry again for the trouble, ma'am.
Back at the house, Sam sighs.
Uh-huh. Sure.
She hangs up. Stephanie backs away from Sam.
Who are you?
I'm me. Your sister, Sam. Or, I guess technically that's not true. But I had a sister just like you, and you had a sister just like me.
Stephanie puts on a brave face.
Had?
I'm sorry, kiddo. But she wasn't the real me. And you're not the real you, as much as I liked pretending you were.
Vincent struggles to his feet as Stephanie backpedals along the length of the couch. They cling to each other for support.
I was really hoping this would all blow over and we could have some kind of relationship again.
As the shock sinks into Steph's eyes, we hear the click of a latch, the front door. She braces herself for the sound of jackboots, but instead hears, "Whose car is out front?"
Maria!
Stephanie bolts for the front door, dragging the weak Vincent by the hand. They arrive in the foyer, where they find Maria, a 9-year-old girl dressed for tennis practice. She drops her book bag and racket when she sees Aunt Steffi? Stephanie throws her arms around her. "I didn't think you were coming." Stephanie doesn't have time to listen. She grabs Maria by the shoulders and locks eyes with her.
Maria, I'm so sorry, but I don't have time to explain. We need to leave right now. Come on.
Stephanie grabs Maria by the hand and pulls both her and Vincent out the front door. We continue outside as Stephanie and her 2 charges rush straight across the front lawn towards the stolen sedan. Halfway across the lawn, Vincent stumbles, skidding on his side of the grass. Stephanie rushes to help him up. "Steffi, what's going on? Where's Mom?"
I'll tell you everything in the car, but we gotta go.
Maria calls back towards the house. "Mom, come outside. Aunt Steffi's here and she's acting crazy." Sam steps out the front door, seemingly unconcerned.
You're not going to get anywhere, Steph. Just let her go.
I'm not leaving my niece with some monster.
She's not your niece.
Stephanie freezes. Maria turns back and raises an eyebrow. "Not?" Sam strolls over to the trio in the yard.
I'm sorry, sweetie. I told you, your Aunt Steffi's not coming. This is the other one. The one from here.
Maria looks down, a little disappointed. Above her, Stephanie looks up at Sam in terrified shock. She drops Maria's hand.
You killed her.
Maria rejoins Sam.
Killed is a strong word. Replaced.
The world spins around Stephanie. Everything's getting blurry, like she might faint. Sirens fade in from the distance, distorted by the haze of shock. Vincent is up now. He tugs on Stephanie's arm, and between bloody coughs shouts,
"Stephanie, we gotta go!"
Now he's leading her to the car, while Stephanie's tearful eyes remain locked on Sam and Maria, or rather, the people who killed them. Vincent opens the driver's door and shoves Stephanie into the driver's seat.
Wait.
You have to drive. I don't think I can stay conscious.
Stephanie looks through the window at the 2 monsters on the lawn.
Stephanie, I need you to be an insufferable, smug super genius for 10 more minutes or we're both gonna die.
Stephanie looks at Vincent, bug-eyed, and nods. Cuts of Vincent buckling up in the back seat. Stephanie starts the engine. In the rearview mirror, black SUVs with red and blue sirens turn a corner. Stephanie slams the pedal down. Tires screech. And we're off.
Stephanie's stolen car races through the suburban neighborhood, retracing the route from the highway at high speeds. Behind, 3 black SUVs close the gap. They may not be built for speed, but they're much better maintained. Stephanie's only hope is to outmaneuver them. She hugs every corner. The woozy Vincent slides around in the back seat as the car cuts through a neighborhood playground. One of the SUVs loses its tread and collides with an unoccupied jungle gym. Cut to the command center. Alec and Frankenstein watch the chase from a rotating display of traffic cameras. Programmers and security personnel chatter in the background.
What the hell is this?
Christian storms into the command center.
Why wasn't I informed the minute you found them? It's fine. They're in company control territory. This doesn't look under control, Alec. It looks like fucking headline news.
Christian turns to Frankenstein.
This town, Longbow. We have people there, yes?
Yes, sir. 22% saturation.
I want all of them in their cars right now.
Cut back to the chase. The stolen car careens onto the company town's main drag. 2 SUVs are in pursuit. Stephanie makes a sharp turn into the parking lot of a strip mall, which is at the bottom of a steep hill. One of the SUVs takes the turn too hard and goes into a roll, tumbling down the hill. Just one left. Stephanie weaves through the rows and cuts in front of a sports car that's backing out of a parking space. The SUV brakes too late to avoid bashing the sports car's taillight. Stephanie thinks for a moment that she's caught a break. She catches sight of the driver of the sports car in her side mirror. The driver's on his phone. Instead of looking back at the collision behind him, he's looking up at her. He says something into his phone, hangs up, and starts his car.
Oh, shit.
Stephanie resumes her manic driving through the maze of the parking lot, now pursued not only by the last black SUV, but the sports car that had just rear-ended. The chase returns to a main road. The SUV is close behind, and now the sports car is pulling up alongside. Stephanie changes lanes, trying to keep from getting boxed in. Up ahead, we watch another car cut across 3 lanes of traffic to join the rally. Then another. Then another. Cut back to the frantic command center. Alec and a programmer bark back and forth.
She's almost out of town. What's our saturation for the surrounding area?
Just under 3%. Another desk jockey lowers his phone receiver and reports to Christiane.
I've got a client who says she doesn't want to get involved.
Tell her she's in breach of contract, and unless she wants to be a puddle of sludge, she'd better stop that car.
On the county road, Stephanie tries to maintain speed as more and more cars join the chase. It's getting hard to tell which cars are pursuing her and which are just in the way. There's a sign up ahead for a freeway entrance. If only she can get out of town. She gets ready to jump the curb and make a beeline for the on-ramp.
Hang on, Vincent.
Bam! Stephanie's car is T-boned by a minivan. It skids off the road, rolls once, and lands back on its wheels on the side of the road. Traffic comes to a halt. The driver of the minivan steps out to regard the scene. Inside, a toddler cries in a car seat. Stephanie, concussed and bleeding, gets one last look out her window at the mob of seemingly ordinary people coming to collect her. Fade to black.
Fade in from black on a blurry close-up of our weak and jaundiced Vincent. A man stands in front of him. It's also Vincent. Stronger, healthier. His duplicate. Vincent is strapped to a chair. Other Vincent leans down close to him, examining his face with grim curiosity.
Wow. Hello.
Our Vincent quakes with fear and confusion as he regards his own doppelganger.
I promise, this is weirder for me than it is for you. I never expected us to meet. I didn't want this. I'm sorry.
Vincent tries to get his bearings. He looks around. There's no one else here, and no sign of Stephanie.
Whatever you're planning, it won't work. Someone's gonna figure out you're not real, that you're a copy. See, that's the part you don't understand. Maybe when you do, you won't hate me so much. See, I'm not a copy of Vincent Estrella. You are.
End of Act 2.
Have you figured it out yet?
Have you solved the mystery of the guys and the other guys?
Do you know who the killer is?
Text this number.
Yeah.
Text killer to pound 5585 by 9 p.m. 10 Central to tell us whether you know
what's going on here.
Yes.
This was a fun little segment. This was kind of your Hawkeye's Family Farm
Yeah, I always
segment.
like to have one of those,
Yes.
right? It's my, well, for one thing, I know that the first act, while we do introduce some Stephanie stuff, is primarily Vincent focused.
Yes.
And I wanted, before we got to the climax, where there was going to be a lot of action and not a lot of room to necessarily explore her background or what it is that drives her, I wanted to take some time to get to know Stephanie too. But one thing that survives from an earlier version of this story, where I had like sort of a different idea of what Stephanie's entire deal was and like what her importance was to our entire franchise. I had the idea of them going really far out of town to somewhere where they figured they could possibly be under the eye of who's watching them, and then to discover that they're actually way ahead of them.
Yeah.
I wanted to add to that sort of that level of paranoia and fear, where like, no, there is no safe distance.
Act 2 is all about making it seem like they are completely surrounded and there is no safe harbor, as we titled one of these scenes.
One of the scenes in our Scrivener document. We have individual scene files for things to more easy editing, so you can move things around when you need to. And this section was called No Safe Harbor. Yeah,
the scene where they're in the police station I called ACAP.
Yeah, all cops are pod people.
But yeah, one of the interesting things about this one, because I know Stephanie was the character you wanted to sort of explore the most if I was doing more Vincent stuff. And we had a version of the scene that you wrote initially. And
my worst fear came true.
Yeah, I had to come to you and be like, Dylan, you're kind of making Gwen too.
Yeah.
She was more political. Like, Stephanie was more political the first time through. And like, she was the one with the moral opposition to like her sister working for a defense
rather
company.
Than mom, and I'm so glad we changed that. One, because she was just becoming Gwen too, and that was the big fear.
For people who are new, Gwen
was the wolf woman in our dark universe, and was sort of my proxy.
Yeah,
was
the show. Dylan's favorite,
like my favorite character. Yeah. She got to be one of the characters that I spoke through most often, and got to do a lot of the sort of political commentary from a leftist angle.
She was very political, and now we're introducing this new young female character who is getting very political, and I just had to...
Like, you got to throw... But the solution we came up with, which was good, was that the idea of it being her mother that was sort of the thing that separated the two of them, rather than the politics being the thing between them, was relationship with their mother, ended up resonating really well with what we were doing with Vincent and Christian.
Yeah.
Where Vincent's pretty messed up about his relationship with his dad, because his dad was sort of disengaged and then malicious for a while. Mm-hmm. And then a tragedy brought them together. But Vincent suffered from a degree of like neglect from his father, right? Stephanie has the opposite problem, where Stephanie became Stephanie and her relationship with her sister and everything, like she was the golden child.
Yeah.
Right? And that meant that she could do no wrong. She clearly can.
Yeah.
And that's part of what's going on, is that she has to discover that she can in fact do wrong.
Yeah, I think what's interesting about Stephanie is she is a know-it-all super genius who is very used to being the smartest person in the room, being on top of every problem, and getting rewarded for it from her mother or from the company or whatever. And so when she's faced with a problem like this, where she doesn't know what's going on, it short-circuits her. She's like, well, how do I not understand? I'm the one who knows things, you know?
Yeah. And it's sort of becomes this moment where like when she has to, like, Vincent's losing consciousness, right?
Yeah.
He needs Stephanie to do the car chase, and he more or less has to, like, and it's, I don't know, it's a gag, but whatever. But it's also kind of cutting into what her deal is that she has this main character syndrome.
Yeah.
And he's like, don't lose it now because the cops are coming.
Yeah.
Which led us into the fun car chase that was one of my first sort of visual ideas for the movie, which is, I'm always thinking about The Matrix. It's always playing in my head on a loop forever. And one of those things, like, the cool thing about, like, the agents, for example, is that anybody at any given time is going to turn into an agent.
Yeah.
And any car in a car chase could become their car.
See, it reminded me of, I don't remember if it's in Fast 8 or 9, where they take control of all the...
8, yeah, in New York, when all the parked
and
cars...
they're, like, falling out of the parking garage.
Yeah, and all of
Very
these,
cool.
like, big concrete 5-story parking structures that exist in New York in this movie.
Yes.
That all are full of cars with the exact same advanced software. But yeah, I mean, those kinds of things. I only saw The Matrix Resurrections once. I feel like there's a beat kind of like this in there.
Wait, you've only seen The Matrix Resurrections once?
I watched it the one time.
I was thinking of Revolutions.
Oh, Revolutions
Okay,
I've seen more times. But
I
saw it when it came out, and I haven't revisited it yet, but I will. But I feel like there's a beat like that, but I think that's people jumping. Less like all of the sort of drones who are populating this new Matrix, like, start stopping whatever they're doing and, like, jump out of windows to try and stop Neo and Trinity. So I'm thankfully I didn't tread on that too closely.
Yeah.
But it's like the same kind of idea of being like, oh, it's like the scary version of being in a video game world, right? Where everything exists suddenly, like, especially for Stephanie, who kind of thinks herself a little bit like the center of the universe. Oh, what if that's bad?
Yeah.
what if suddenly everybody knows you and cares who you are, and they're coming to get you?
Yeah.
Like, that feels like a fun thing that I didn't get to play with very much in the text, but I feel like it's the kind of thing that if you got to watch this film with an actor on screen rather than just Stephanie's great vocal performance that we've been doing on the show, that you'd be able to kind of dig into, and maybe something I can explore more with, assuming the character sticks around.
Yeah, assuming she doesn't die in Act 3. Yeah, I think another interesting thing, because hopefully we would get more from, an on-screen performance, and maybe we'll explore later, is like the fact that this failed experiment, like being part of such a massive project that not just didn't work and she doesn't know why, but then she was fired for it.
Yeah, and
like,
then,
that's going to be like the lowest thing of her life.
Yeah, and the fact that like the bubble sort of burst on the thing that she studied.
Yeah.
The thing that she's the best at went from being extremely valuable to being like barely valuable at all.
And now that she's in this really dangerous position, but the idea that Alec plants in her that the experiment maybe actually did work sort of could perversely give her some hope.
Yeah, it could be
in
kind
a
of
way.
thrilling in
Yeah.
a way where like she hasn't wasted her life.
Even though all of these townspeople are now trying to kill her.
Yes.
Yeah.
Some of the stuff is like, it's fun to look back and reflect back on this. Like we always talk about these being drafts.
Yeah.
And we did many revisions on this one, and it would be fun to do another one. But
Yeah,
we kind of get the fun of the show is we get to talk about it now, right?
Yeah, we were just we had to find the characters in this draft.
Yeah.
You know,
we didn't inherit anybody from previous things, and we didn't get to, pick up where we left off.
we couldn't even like look back to like the source material, right?
Yeah.
Because there's not a source material. Like we could do that.
Yeah, we didn't import any characters or character types from, say, like Invasion of the Body Snatchers, The Faculty, or the movies that we think of as being like the seeds of this genre.
Which really made it so I think we also leaned more on the actors this time.
Mm-hmm.
And because we kind of cast these characters before we wrote them.
Yeah.
But then as we were writing them, we're like, oh, well, Vincent needs to be a character that Justice Smith would play.
Yeah,
right?
and that's part of the fun of casting, right? We're never going to, and again, as always, we have to say, no celebrities have endorsed any part of the show, and all celebrity voices are impersonated. But it's, we're not trying to do impressions of anybody in this episode. I did toy with the idea. I was a little frustrated being like, I don't have a good one. I don't have a good one, so I didn't try it anyway. But I'm like, Antonio Banderas is Spanish. He's not Mexican.
Yeah.
That should be fair game for me. We're both spicy white.
Yeah.
I should be allowed
If
to
you're a
do an
Spaniard,
Antonio Banderas
weigh in.
impression.
Weigh in our YouTube
He's
comments.
famous in the United States for playing a couple of famous Mexicans, but he's not Mexican. However, there are reasons that in the context of the United States, and perhaps specifically the United States right now in the year 2025, that it would perhaps be offensive for me to try and do an Antonio Banderas voice. But it's moot because I can't do one. I don't have one.
Yeah.
And so nobody can yell at me.
Well, I think it's time to head into our Act 3.
Act 3.
And finally unveil things. We're going to jump to an ad break real quick, I think.
All right. Let's hear from some local independent creators.
And then we will jump right into Act 3 of Pod People.
This episode is brought to you by author Brian P. Rubin and Dim Stars, a novel of outer space shenanigans. Dim Stars tells the story of washed-up loser Captain Dash Drake, overeager girl genius Kenzie Washington, and the rest of the weirdo crew of the Gremlin. Along the way, our heroes encounter cannibal space pirates, catastrophic equipment failure, and a cyborg who's kind of a dick. Can Kenzie discover the bad guy's secret plan? Can Dash keep from killing his brilliant, annoying cadet? Did we mention there's also a talking space octopus? There's a talking space octopus. Nicholas Eames, author of Kings of the Wild, wrote on Goodreads, "Holy shit! I loved this book!" Order your copy of Dim Stars, a novel of outer space shenanigans from your favorite bookseller, or check out dimstarsbook.com for more information. Thanks, Brian P. Rubin, for your support of the show. This episode is brought to you by DC3Cast, a weekly podcast about DC Comics by three former contributors to multiversitycomics.com. For over a decade, the DC3Cast has looked at DC Comics from a number of different angles. They review the latest DC Comics releases, look ahead at what's coming out soon, and do in-depth retrospectives on comics past. They're currently in the process of exploring the history of DC from Crisis on Infinite Earths to today, looking at all the major books and moments from the past 40 years. On their Patreon, they're currently making their way through the entire DC Comics output of the great Grant Morrison, issue by issue. And they boast what they call the best non-pod universe Discord server on the internet. Thanks to Zach, Vince, and Brian of the DC3Cast for supporting our show. You can find them at dc3cast.com or on your podcatcher of choice. Act 3. Back to the two Vincents. They're in a lab of some kind, mostly emptied out except for a wall of servers and computer equipment on one end. A monitor attached to these computers shows a scrolling list of names and identities, similar to the spreadsheet Vincent was looking at earlier. Except these have an additional column, something that looks like coordinates.
What are you talking about? I'm not
Vincent leans forward and vomits all over himself. The other Vincent wrinkles his nose and turns his head away.
Jesus Christ, you're a mess. Hold on.
He pulls a container of pills out of his pocket.
What is that? Med cocktail for the near-lethal dose of radiation you've been absorbing for the past few weeks.
He steps forward but doesn't want to get too close to Vincent's mess.
Open wide.
Vincent reluctantly opens his mouth, and the other Vincent tosses a pill in from a safe distance. Vincent swallows.
Where are we? Why am I tied to a chair? Sorry about that. We're a tech company. We don't exactly have an on-site prison. Welcome to Alterr HQ, your rejected birthright.
Other Vincent leans against the desk. He looks frustrated.
You're not supposed to be here, man.
Vincent's head sways. He's still weak.
Dad's pissed. Like, real pissed.
He slides open the drawer of the desk and pulls out a handgun.
Like, wants you gone pissed. My dad would never. Yeah, that's probably true. But we're talking about my dad here, not yours. Yours was gone by the time mine showed up, just like you were supposed to be gone by the time I got here.
He holds the handgun in his hands, down by his lap, not pointing it, just considering.
You know what the problem was? Your fucking apartment was too small. How are we supposed to account for that? Your dad quits Alterr, you're no longer mega rich, so you move into a fucking closet on Market Street that's literally so cramped there's no place to put a pod that wouldn't immediately get noticed. How do you live like that, man?
Vincent doesn't answer.
I could never. It's going to be the first thing I fix here in your world. Back in the Prime universe, I had this beach house out in Half Moon Bay. Phenomenal views. What is the Prime? So instead, we put the pod in your garden. Close enough to absorb the DNA we needed, but because you're there less frequently, the bridge took way longer to open and you absorbed its radiation at a much slower rate. So here we are.
He looks down at the gun again, heavy in his hands.
So now I have to do it.
Vincent, meanwhile, has regained some strength from the drug cocktail. He lifts his head.
What the fuck are you talking about? Who are you? Where's Stephanie? What the fuck is the Prime universe?
The other Vincent smiles. He sets the gun on the desk and pushes away from it, walking around Vincent in a wide circle.
Okay, if I know you, and I obviously do, you're gonna love this. Cut to the Alterr HQ infirmary, essentially a high-end nurse's office. Stephanie lies on a cot, each wrist cuffed to a handrail. She's still in her blood-stained clothes from the car accident. She's got a bad gash on her head that, despite where she's being kept, has not been tended to. A curtain separates her from the rest of the room. She struggles against her restraints.
Hello? Can anyone hear me?
Someone opens the curtain sharply from the other side. It's the Wolfman. Stephanie screams, fights harder against the cuffs.
Get away from me.
It's all right.
Wolfman steps aside and reveals another visitor. Penny. She nods to Wolfman.
Give us a minute, please.
The Wolfman awkwardly steps behind the curtain and closes it.
I wanted to thank you for trying to help Vincent.
Wait. You're the woman from the garden. You're one of them?
I'm afraid so, Miss Lee. If it makes any difference to you, I didn't choose this.
What is this? What are you?
I'm penicillin.
Excuse me?
A miraculous discovery made by accident, as so many great discoveries are.
I'd like a less cryptic answer, please.
It's complicated.
I'm a quantum engineer.
Penny smiles.
Are you familiar with the many worlds theory? Back in the lab, other Vincent eagerly paces in front of our Vincent.
Okay, so you know the premise. In quantum mechanics, particles like electrons seem to exist in multiple states simultaneously. The many worlds interpretation posits that these infinite possibilities all coexist, each in their own parallel universe. So while we might observe a particle in position X in our universe, it also exists in position Y in another universe. And with infinite particles in the universe changing positions continuously, infinite upon infinite universes, and all of them constantly creating more. Until now.
Flashback to the other Vincent's universe, a lab, in 2020. Scientists, technicians, and Alterr bigwigs are gathered around a massive machine, wearing lead vests and protective eyewear. Among them are Christian, Alec, and Stephanie. In the center of the massive device is a foot-long clear tube, seemingly empty, connected to the machine by its 2 titanium-capped ends. The other Vincent speaks in voiceover.
Our dad was trying to create a practical quantum computer by isolating it from all that chaos. No background radiation, no unreliable outcomes. He wanted to house his processor within a perfectly placid and predictable pocket dimension.
The camera pushes in slowly on the glass tube.
He captured a single particle of dark matter and tried to use it to create a new, totally empty universe to house his processor. But it didn't work the way he expected. Instead of sparking a new universe, it cut a branch off of our own. An entire universe parallel to ours, but where the particles don't move the same way. They don't create new universes. A universe that exists like a bug under glass, trapped, still, and under our control. He named it the Pod Universe. Cut back to the infirmary. Stephanie reacts to this same explanation from Penny.
So, in your universe, our experiment was successful?
Not exactly. It didn't get Alterr any closer to a practical quantum computer, but having your own private dimension, a backup copy of the entire universe that diverged at that specific instant in time, that turned out to be much more valuable.
And why is that?
Because not long after, someone on our world did make a better quantum computer. And from that point on, it's not a world you want to live in. Cut to the other Vincent. As he rants, his counterpart picks away at the ropes around his wrists behind his back.
You wouldn't believe how bad things got, man. The world I left, it's practically unrecognizable. But everyone was looking for a way out, and we had one. We had you. It took some time, but we figured out how to reach this place. Einstein-Rosen bridges. Wormholes. We could control exactly where they appeared, but they took time to grow large enough and stable enough to travel through. And it only worked one way. But it was a miracle. A life raft for those of us with the access to it. A chance to start over in the universe we created, untouched by the fuck-ups who created ours. As long as you kill the people already living here. Like you're gonna kill me. No, it's not. You're not supposed to be here. In order to safely cross over, we have to use the wormholes to splice out little samples of the local copy's DNA. It causes cell damage, like severe radiation poisoning. By the time we arrive, our double is usually gone, and we take their place. Could it work the other way around? If I got some of your DNA, could that stabilize my body? Could that save my life? I don't know. We've never tested that. Maybe. Okay, great. So let's test it. Let's both live here. No, you're too far gone already. It wouldn't work. And even if it did...
Other Vincent starts wandering back towards the desk with the gun on it.
There's paperwork, social security numbers. This whole thing has to stay a secret. I won't tell anybody. There can't be two of us. We'll switch off, never show up at the same time.
Other Vincent grabs the gun off the desk and points it wildly at Vincent.
You're a photocopy. You're not real. We made you in a fucking lab. I'm Vincent, the real Vincent. You're just IP.
Vincent stays calm, looking his prime copy dead in the eyes.
I'm not a killer. And I think that means you're not either.
Other Vincent shakily lowers the gun, then turns away and screams in frustration.
Come on, man. Dad's gonna fucking kill me. You get it. You know. Yeah. Let's talk about Dad. Cut to Christian in the command center, watching security feeds of the building. He sees something he doesn't like. A feed from the infirmary, where Penny sits by Stephanie's bedside, separated from Wolfman by a curtain. Cut to the infirmary.
This quantum computer, the one that broke your world. I helped build it, didn't I?
Yes. I'm sorry.
Back to the command center. Christian snaps his fingers at Alec, who mans a computer nearby. Alec nods and types a few keys. We hear the click of a comm channel opening.
What the hell is she doing in the infirmary?
Cut to Wolfman standing on his side of the curtain.
She has to speak to the prisoner, sir.
We hear Christian's voice in Wolfman's earpiece.
And you let her? She's your dependent, sir. She outranks me. Get her out of there now.
Wolfman pulls back the curtain.
Ma'am, if you'll come with me, I'm not finished here.
Wolfman draws his pistol, pauses, then gives Penny a knowing smile.
I have my orders, Mrs. S.
Then, Wolfman whips his pistol around toward the security camera and shoots it out. He quickly finds a set of keys on his belt and tosses it to Penny, who starts freeing Stephanie from her handcuffs.
Come on, we gotta move.
On their way out the door, Penny grabs something out of a cabinet.
A blood transfusion kit? What do we need that for?
I'll explain on the way.
In the command center, Christian punches the staticky screen.
Back in the lab, other Vincent sits against the wall, gun in his hand. Vincent is still in the chair. Behind his back, he's made no progress on doing the knot, but he is slowly starting to pick through the fibers of the rope with one jagged fingernail. He talks to the other Vincent to keep him busy.
The day you're talking about. The day Dad's experiment failed. It was just before Mom got her diagnosis.
Other Vincent is quiet, not looking at his doppelganger.
His life's work had failed. His wife was sick. It all hit him hard and fast. He reprioritized. Quit Alterr, no notice, no severance. I'm guessing that didn't happen in your universe. No.
Vincent nods.
I'm sorry. Because it changed him. Before Mom's diagnosis, you know how he was. Barely around, and when he was mean. When I came out to him, he was disgusted. Left the room, never brought it up again. Would barely look at me. After he quit, that all changed. Those long hours in her hospital room, watching her sleep. We reconnected. We shouted, cried, got to know each other. By the time she died, man, we held each other. I don't even remember him ever hugging me before that.
Other Vincent has tears in his eyes.
Once she was gone, we started the garden in her memory. We were out there together every day.
Now Vincent's eyes are starting to water.
And I loved it. For the first time, I loved my life and I loved my dad. Until you and your fucking world came here and took him from me. So how can we be the copies when we're doing this better than you?
Other Vincent is silent for a while. He slowly gets to his feet.
You're right. He didn't quit. He got worse. Started sleeping at the office. Hell, the only reason I started working for Alterr was so I could see him every once in a while. He was convinced he could use the pod universe to save Mom. Save her how? By sending her here. She'd still be sick. Why does it matter what universe she's in?
Other Vincent looks down, ashamed.
Because you don't have to come here in your own body. What are you talking about?
Suddenly, the room is flooded with red emergency lights. Alarm klaxons sound. This distracts other Vincent, but our Vincent is focused on one thing.
What did you do? We thought it might be possible to transform someone's body while it was being recompiled in the wormhole, just by sampling DNA from a different target. Mom, it was an ideal test case. She was dying anyway, and the target body belonged to someone we know, someone who couldn't afford to cross over. Someone young and healthy.
Vincent finally breaks out of his ropes and charges at the other Vincent, tackling him to the floor and sending the gun flying.
Where is my mother? Cut to a close-up of Penny as she, Stephanie, and the Wolfman run through the corridors of Alterr HQ. Wolfman cuts ahead and bursts through the door to an emergency stairwell. He checks corners, looks up and down, and confirms there's no one else in sight. Penny slams the door behind them.
Christian's command center is 3 stories above us. We've got to save Vincent and put a stop to all of this.
I'm sorry. Who are you people? Why did you save me?
Penny sighs.
I'm Allison, Vincent's mother.
Stephanie is stunned.
How?
I was sent here to live in a cancer-free body. Which body exactly was my husband's choice? Mrs. Estrella, we gotta move.
And who are you? Vincent's grandfather?
You? No. He and I are headed upstairs into greater danger. But you can still get out. It's a long way down, but this stair will enter straight into the street.
Stephanie looks down the stairwell. Nothing good lies that way.
I had a hand in causing all this. I need to make it stop.
Penny nods.
At the top of those stairs is the nerve center of their entire invasion. If we destroy it, we may be able to keep them out for good. Or at the very least, we'll buy ourselves time to prepare.
Prepare for what?
For war, Stephanie.
Penny turns around and starts up the stairs.
The choice is yours. I'm not leaving here without my son. Both of him.
Wolfman follows Penny up, and after a moment, so does Stephanie.
Back in the lab, the two Vincents wrestle on the floor. Our Vincent has his duplicate pinned down and is raining blows down on him.
You killed my dad, abandoned my mom in someone else's body, poisoned me, and you still think you're the good guy.
The other Vincent finally kicks him in the groin and scrambles for the gun.
There is no good guy. This is science, Vincent. There are only tests and results.
He dives for the gun, but Vincent grabs him by the ankles and he crashes to the floor just inches short.
We're people, you psychopath. I'm not a test result. And I know you know that, so stop trying to justify it to yourself just to impress a man who will never love you.
Other Vincent roars with rage and kicks Vincent in the face. He grabs the gun, stands, and points it straight at Vincent.
He loved you!
He shakes, sniffling, trying not to cry.
So why won't he love me?
Vincent puts his hands up.
Because he doesn't know you. But I do. Because I am you. You're a pod person. You're not real. I thought you would understand, that you'd know why I had to do this. It's like your garden, right? This universe, it's our garden. We made it with our bare hands. We control what happens here. We own it.
Vincent shakes his head.
You don't own a garden, Vincent. You tend it. My job as a gardener is to create the conditions for the plants to grow. You did that when you made this universe. Now you have to step back and let it thrive.
Other Vincent keeps the gun leveled at Vincent's forehead, unsure what to do.
Wolfman, Stephanie, and Penny/Allison crash through a door out of the stairwell and onto another floor illuminated by flashing alarm lights.
The control room is this way. From there, we'll be able to see where they're holding Vincent.
Wolfman leads them down the corridor, but stops short when two armed guards pop out in front of them, weapons drawn. One of them is Wolfman's wingman from earlier, the one we called Frankenstein.
Mrs. Estrella, please step away.
The other guard looks at Wolfman. Flores, man, what are you doing?
What you should be doing. You're a prisoner here, just like me.
It's too late for that.
The guards ready their weapons, but Wolfman fires first and they dive for cover. He fires wildly, squinting and looking uncomfortable with the gun.
Oh, these things are loud!
Are you kidding me? Have you never fired a gun before?
Before he can answer, two more guards emerge from the stairwell behind them and grab Allison by the arms. Wolfman raises his guns, but the guards open fire on them, forcing him and Stephanie to duck behind a cart of equipment. As she's dragged away, Allison throws the transfusion kit to Stephanie and shouts,
"Save Vincent!"
Stephanie nods, and she and Wolfman run down the corridor, Wolfman firing blindly as they go.
Cut to the command center, where Christian watches Wolfman's amateurish gunplay and shakes his head in contempt. This is the last time I hire one of Vincent's friends. He flips to another feed and sees that his wife has been safely locked in his office. He flips to a third feed to see other Vincent, still standing over Vincent, looking down at the gun in his hands. Christian's lip curls with rage. He storms out of his office. Cut to him throwing open the door to the lab. What the hell is going on in here? Other Vincent looks up. He's removed the pistol's magazine, holding it and the gun in opposite hands. There's a pile of bullets on the floor between the two Vincents.
Dad? What are you...
Why is he still alive?
I'm sorry, my gun jammed.
Christian storms across the room and grabs the gun from his son's hand. Don't lie to me, Vincent, and don't shirk your responsibilities. You're part of this company now. And more than that, you're my son, which means your performance reflects on me.
I know. But nobody else had to kill their pod person.
Christian softens a bit. You're right. This is a particularly delicate situation. I just wish you could see it for the opportunity that it is. The chance to show you're ready for leadership. Other Vincent looks down, ashamed. His dad puts his hand on his shoulder. It's okay. You'll get there. He turns to Vincent, kneeling on the ground.
Cut to Stephanie and Wolfman, who enter the control room to find just Alec. He puts his hands up, but Wolfman shoots anyway, hitting him in the calf.
Ow, fuck!
He falls to the ground, holding his bleeding calf. Stephanie finds the monitor showing the lab, with Vincent on his knees in front of Christian.
Vincent!
Cut back to the lab. Christian loads the magazine, which we can see has at least one bullet still in it, back into the pistol. Well, I can't say it's been fun having you as a temporary son, Vincent. I think I prefer the one I raised myself, the one that belongs to me. He raises his gun. His Vincent stands beside him, sweating, looking back and forth between his doppelganger and Christian. The two Vincents' eyes meet. The one kneeling on the floor shakes his head, resigned. The one on his feet begins to cry.
Cut to Stephanie in the control room, watching this. She tenses. and then flinches as a gunshot sounds through the tinny monitor speakers.
Vincent.
Cut back to the lab. Christian stands over Vincent. There's a hole in the center of Vincent's chest, straight in the heart. Blood gushes into his shirt. As he slumps to one side, he mutters,
"You don't own a garden. You tend it."
His eyes flutter. His head droops.
"I'm sorry, Dad."
Vincent dies. Christian cocks his head, looking confused at these last words. The living Vincent speaks from behind him.
"That was the biggest difference between us."
Christian turns to face him. "What are you talking about?"
"He didn't know anything about gardening. I had to teach him."
Fear creeps into Christian's confused expression.
"I tried to unload the gun before you got here just in case, but he didn't even care. He didn't want to live with what you'd become. Maybe that's why he suggested switching places. He knew it would end like this."
Vincent doubles over coughing. A glob of blood splats on the floor in front of him. "Vincent. No." He turns to the dead Vincent, the prime Vincent, a.k.a. other Vincent, horrified at what he's done. He takes a step towards his body, then whips around, pointing the gun at our Vincent. "You tricked me!" Just before he fires, Wolfman comes charging in from out of frame and tackles Christian to the floor. The gun goes flying. Stephanie runs in behind him and runs the dead Vincent, trying to wake him up, still thinking it's her Vincent. The living Vincent falls to his knees, overwhelmed by the action, his meds starting to wear off. Wolfman picks up the pistol and pins Christian to the ground, trying to hold him still as he points the gun at Christian's head. "Try to make me a slave? Take my fucking body from me? And you expect us not to fight back?" He pulls the trigger. It clicks. No more bullets. We rack focus to see all the discarded bullets on the floor. Oh, shit. Christian decks him in the face, then rolls him over so he's on top. He wraps his hands around the Wolfman's neck. Wolfman drops the gun, which slides on the floor right through the pile of bullets. They scatter across the room in every direction. "Clearly, we have not impressed upon your class enough how imminently replaceable you are. There are 8 billion people in our universe begging to come over here and take your spot." He squeezes harder. Wolfman's eyes start rolling up in his head. "Remember the golden rule of Silicon Valley? If the product is free, then you are the product." We hear the magazine slide back into the pistol, and then, bang. A crater opens up in the side of Christian's skull. He falls to the floor, and past him we see Vincent, lying on his side on the floor, holding Christian's gun. Stephanie looks over from where she kneels by the other Vincent.
"Vincent?"
Vincent nods weakly.
"Fooled ya."
Stephanie laughs, relieved, tears in her eyes. She looks at Wolfman.
"Bring him over here. We need to start the blood transfusion right away."
"Blood transfusion?"
"We have to replace the DNA that your pod skimmed off. Your mom explained everything."
"My mom? You saw her?"
Stephanie smiles.
"Yeah. Don't worry. She's on our side."
Wolfman picks up Vincent and carries him to his double's body. Vincent looks up at him through half-closed eyes.
"La hombre lobo de la noche."
Wolfman smiles. "The werewolf of the night."
"Liam."
Liam nods. "Yeah, it's me. I tried to get your attention earlier. I can't blame you for not recognizing me." He sets Vincent down next to the corpse.
"What did they do to you?"
Not everyone can afford the high price of escaping to the pod universe, so they have a program for people like me. Come here for free and work for them.
"You're an indentured servant?"
Well, they call it a work visa. As you can see, they picked a body for me that they thought would be more capable. I didn't realize at the time that meant some poor random guy here would get killed to make me.
"So, where's my Liam?"
Liam shakes his head. "I don't know." Vincent shivers. He's getting worse and fast.
"In your universe, are we..."
Liam cocks his head. "Are we what?" Vincent looks away, more sad than embarrassed.
"Nothing."
Stephanie finishes setting up the transfusion, then starts compressing the dead Vincent's chest to get the blood going.
"Don't worry, Vincent. This is going to make you better, I think. Liam, can you go get Allison on your own?"
Liam nods and hands Stephanie his earpiece. "Take this. I'll reach out as soon as I've got Mrs. S safely in the control room. Then we get the hell out of here." He rushes out, leaving Stephanie and Vincent alone.
"We can't stop them, Stephanie. Their equipment, it's not even in this universe."
"Not all of it.
She smiles and looks at the computer on the other end of their room.
But one really important piece is..."
While Vincent takes in blood, Stephanie rushes over to the computer banks against the wall and starts digging through files. What is it?
This is how they know where to place the pods. Alterr collects the location data from people's devices, collates it to figure out where they spend the most time, and then sends that data back to the Prime universe.
Wait, how?
How about you just trust that I know how it works so we don't waste 10 minutes explaining transdimensional quantum computing? If we destroy this, the other universe will be firing blind. No location data, no DNA skimming, no replacements.
Vincent seems to be slowly regaining strength. Okay, yeah, let's just smash it. Stephanie is behind the monitor now, tracing cables to a block of ports embedded in the wall.
Damn. It's not just here. These drives are mirrored. Probably to a server room on this floor. Maybe several.
Okay, so we go door to door. A voice chimes in through Stephanie's earpiece.
I might have a faster way.
Liam, are you okay?
Cut to Liam in the control room with Allison. 2 guards lie limp in the background.
Yep, totally fine. Turns out this new body is really good at punching.
Allison stares at the monitor at her son's dead body, fighting back tears. She snaps herself out of it and leans into the mic.
Stephanie, there are too many server rooms on this floor. We'll never get to all of them before we're caught.
She flips to another security camera, which shows the front of the building. The entire police force, including a SWAT van, are pulling into the parking lot.
But we've got a better idea.
Liam is tracing his finger on a monitor screen displaying a utility map of the floor.
There's a storage closet in the lab you're in. Go in there and look for a yellow pipe.
Back in the lab, Stephanie rushes to the closet. It's filled with junked equipment and utility connections, including a thin yellow pipe in one corner.
Okay, I found it. What is it?
It's the natural gas line.
Outside the closet, Vincent shouts, "What is it? What is he telling you to do?" Stephanie just stares at the pipe, a sick smile growing on her face.
Ever seen Terminator 2?
Stephanie runs out of the closet and grabs the gun that was used to kill Christian. Wait, are we going to blow up the building?
Just a floor or two.
A series of metal clangs from inside the closet. Stephanie has busted a hole through the pipe with the butt of her pistol. Gas sprays out. Hey, can we think this through first? How are we going to ignite it and still have enough time to... He trails off as he notices something in the closet. A discarded monitor, not flat screen, a bulky, old-fashioned one. He rips the needle out of his arm and stands, shaky at first, taking a second to regain his balance. Then he marches straight to the monitor and hauls it into the lab.
What are you doing?
It's a CRT monitor. You have no idea how many of these things I've hollowed out for the garden. The first thing to know about them is that they're fucking dangerous. They store a massive electric charge, even after they're unplugged. Meaning, if it were to break open after being powered on... He plugs the monitor into a wall outlet. The screen starts to softly glow, but stays black without any input. It'll make a hell of a spark. Stephanie grins.
Love that. But how do we make sure we have enough time to get away?
Vincent wheels a whiteboard over near the monitor. The second thing to know about them... He heaves the monitor up over his head, then over the whiteboard, gently lowering it on the other side so it's held up by the cable. He lets go, and immediately the plug against the wall goes diagonal, pulled by the monitor's weight. Is that they're heavy as shit. Stephanie eyes the setup skeptically. Vincent notices. It's your turn to trust me. Vincent goes over to the wall, holding the rubber plug in the outlet, testing the friction. Let me know when we're ready.
Liam, you guys set to run?
Cut to the control room. Liam and Allison are watching the cops ascend through both the stairwell and elevator.
All set here. When you exit the lab, take a left and head to the freight elevator. That path is clear. There are no cops out by the back loading bay.
Got it. I'm not sure how long we'll have before the boom, so bust your ass, okay?
Copy that.
Vincent and Stephanie look at each other.
Feeling healthy enough to run?
We're about to find out. They steel themselves.
Go!
Vincent lets go of the plug. The weight of the monitor pulls it back up at an angle, but it stays attached to the wall. Quick shot of the pipe, still spewing gas. Stephanie and Vincent sprint down the hallway. At the end are 2 freight elevators side by side. They call both of them, hitting the buttons rapidly as if that will make them arrive faster. After what feels like an eternity, one set of doors opens. Behind them, they hear footsteps. They turn to see Allison and Liam running down the hall towards them.
Vincent!
Vincent freezes. Mom? Liam waves them ahead.
Go, we'll take the next one.
Cut to the plug. It slips another millimeter out of the wall. Back in the hallway, Vincent doesn't move. Mom? Stephanie grabs him and pulls him into the elevator. Wait, but... The doors start to close. Vincent stares at Allison, knowing who she is, but not recognizing a single detail about her. Just before the doors close, a stairwell door bangs open. An entire SWAT unit floods the hallway between Liam and Allison and the elevators. Vincent yells, "No!" But it's too late. The elevator descends. Vincent lunges for the buttons, but Stephanie holds him back.
There's nothing we can do. We have to get clear. They'll meet us there if they can.
Cut back to the plug. It slides out more, a couple millimeters now. The monitor hangs over the ground, glowing softly. The pipe hisses gas. At the bottom, Vincent and Stephanie emerge from the freight elevator into the loading bay. Vincent runs, getting some distance between him and the building so he can look up at the floor they were just on for any sign of life. Stephanie follows. "Give me your earpiece." He grabs it out of Stephanie's ear and puts it in his own. "Liam? Liam, are you there? Can you hear me?" Cut to the control room. Sure enough, Liam and Allison are back inside. Liam is pressing his full weight against the locked door, trying to keep SWAT out.
Tell him we're a little busy.
Allison goes to the mic and presses the button.
Vincent, we're okay. Just trying to keep them out.
Cut to the plug slipping a little further. Cut to the loading dock. Stephanie looks up at the building, biting her lip.
Maybe it won't fall.
Mom? Mom, is that you? Back to the control room. Allison smiles sadly.
Yes. I'm sorry I couldn't tell you before. I didn't know how to explain.
Mom, it's okay, but you gotta get out of there.
I know, baby. Just in case we don't make it, I need you to know that even if we're from different universes, I still love...
The plug slips out of the wall. The monitor falls face first to the ground. It hits the tile, and the glass smashes, creating an electric spark. From the loading dock, we watch the 15th floor of Alterr HQ erupt into a fireball. Mom? Mom! Nothing from the earpiece. After a moment, the floor below it explodes too. Then the one above a second later, followed almost immediately by the one above that. Stephanie raises her eyebrows.
Oops.
Vincent stares up in shock. Stephanie tugs his arm.
Vincent, we gotta go.
But my mom, Liam...
If we stay any longer, they're going to catch us. We need to steal a car, now.
Vincent staggers after Stephanie in a daze, turning his head to look up at the smoking building. Sirens blare.
Fade to a random bystander a few blocks away, looking up at the burning Alterr building. They flip through a social media feed to see a breaking news clip, which we watch over their shoulder.
Authorities have just released the identities of the suspected bombers: Vincent Estrella, son of former Alterr CTO Christian Estrella, and Stephanie Lee, who was fired from Alterr 5 years ago. Lee's sister, Samantha, has already taken to social media, denouncing her sister as a domestic terrorist.
We hear a car start. The bystander lowers their phone and looks dead ahead, across the street from them, as Stephanie and Vincent strap into a newly hot-wired car. Hey! Before the bystander can do anything but cry out, the two terrorists speed off down the street, tossing their phones out the window. Cut to Vincent and Stephanie inside the car, racing down a dark, empty country road. Vincent stares down at his lap numbly. Stephanie is wired.
Holy shit, we did it! We saved the fucking world!
She slaps her hands on the wheel maniacally. Vincent remains still.
We're heroes, man!
We're terrorists. You heard the news. We're wanted criminals. Our families are dead. Our lives are over.
Stephanie opens her mouth like she's going to say something. She's got nothing. They sit in silence for a moment.
I lost my mom. Again. I shot my dad, man. I told myself I wasn't a killer, and I believed it. And then...
That wasn't your dad. Maybe he used to be, but it sounds to me like your real father, the one who loved you. He killed that version of himself years ago. For you and for your mother. I think your dad, your mom, hell, even my mom, I think they'd be proud of what we did today. We used what we know and what we're good at to make the world less awful.
For how long?
Stephanie looks down the road ahead and turns to him and smiles.
For as long as we can.
At first, Vincent doesn't answer. We close in on his eyes and cut, just for a moment, to Vincent and Christian holding each other at Allison's deathbed.
Back to the present. Cut to a close-up on a painted wooden sign. It's night, but the sign is illuminated by a pair of headlights from a car parked nearby. Someone is painting some new lettering on the sign. It's Vincent. When he's done, it reads, Christiane and Alice in Estrella Community Garden. Cut to the recycle bin. Vincent's hands reach into frame again. They grab onto an original Game Boy, guts hollowed out. A single rose grows from where the screen ought to be. We see Stephanie and Vincent in silhouette as the sun rises far in the distance. They exit the garden, Vincent carrying the Game Boy rose, and climb into the car, Stephanie in the driver's seat, Vincent riding shotgun with the flower resting in his lap. Stephanie starts the engine. Over the stereo, we hear the opening guitars of Radiation Vibe by Fountains of Wayne. They drive away from the garden and the camera rises, revealing the Alterr headquarters far in the distance, black smoke still erupting from its upper floors. The stolen car shrinks towards the horizon, and we watch as other cars pass into view, driving these same roads, left to wonder if any of them, or even all of them, are secretly in pursuit. Fade to black. Credits.
This episode is brought to you by PV Guide, the new newsletter from former Polygon senior curation editor Pete Volk. Pete wants you to ditch SEO-driven media websites and put your faith in hand-picked reviews and recommendations. And hey, I'd also love for you to do that. Because here's the thing. I think media criticism is most useful to an audience when they have an ongoing relationship to each other. Growing up, I read Entertainment Weekly every week, and for better or worse, that team of movie and TV critics was basically unchanged for like a decade. I knew those critics, I knew what they liked, and most importantly, I knew what sensibilities we shared and which we did not. That's way more helpful than a Rotten Tomatoes score based on an up and down vote of how many critics thought it was fine. When you have a history with your favorite critics, then a review is more like hearing about a movie from a friend. You know where your tastes overlap, and you know how to weigh their opinion. That kind of relationship is dying right now in larger publications, but it's still alive in places like PV Guide. Go to pvguide.ghost.io to see what he has to say about this weekend's new movies and TV shows, and see if you're a good fit. Thanks to Pete Volk for supporting our show. Mid-credits scene. Someone sits at an old wooden table in a kitchen obviously furnished by someone from the last century. The someone watches a news report about the bombing on their phone. The news has chosen the least flattering photos possible of both Vincent and Stephanie. Oh, man. The someone is Liam, our Liam, the one played by Jacob Batalon. He sits with his head in his hands. None of this makes any sense. God, why didn't I answer his texts? An old woman, Liam's grandma, wanders about the kitchen making tea. She answers in subtitled Ilocano.
People do silly things during Lovell's quarrels, honey.
She looks over Liam's shoulder and sees Vincent's photo next to a live feed of a smoking office building.
This is pretty out there, though.
Liam allows himself a laugh and then looks up lovingly at his grandma. Thanks for letting me stay here these past few days. I really needed to clear my head, and seeing you always helps.
Of course, Jelly Bear. You're always welcome.
The doorbell rings. Liam stands and starts for the front door. I'll get it. It's probably the cops, or maybe a reporter looking for an interview with the terrorists. Liam opens the door. Boyfriend. On the other side is a tall, broad-shouldered man wearing tattered, blood-spattered tactical gear. He looks about to pass out. It's the other Liam, a.k.a. Wolfman, the one played by Charles Melton. The other Liam stumbles forward, and Liam catches him as best he can and helps him land softly on his back. Grandma walks in and gasps. Other Liam looks up at her, dazed. Hi, Grandma. As the Wolfman loses consciousness, Liam and his grandmother look at each other, totally perplexed. El hombre lobo de la noche will return.
Woo!
Pod people.
Pod people.
Pod people.
They're just like you and me.
Yes.
They might be us. We were the pod people the whole time.
That's right. In season 3, the way we came up with this idea is back when you got replaced by a pod person.
Exactly. We
in season 3 of the show.
This is the show.
Yes.
We still have a post-credit scene coming.
We do. But before we get to that, let's unpack a little bit of this. First of all, to anybody who guessed it, when we were doing the Dark Universe and trying to decide what we're going to do after, I think like so many things that we commit to, it kind of started as a joke that now we have to do the multiverse saga.
Well, yeah. So I hope our multiverse is different enough from the DC or the MCU multiverse that you're not sick of it.
Everybody's sick of the multiverse, but what you said to me, which of course, me being a sci-fi guy, I was immediately completely on board. It's like, yeah, but what if we did like a hard sci-fi take on the multiverse?
Yeah, this is not going to be a multiverse where like our guys are constantly just waltzing through multiverses and meeting, the version of me with a mustache. No, we wanted to take a look at what the actual prevailing theories of if there is a multiverse, how does that work? And how could we use that in a way that hasn't been played with before? I don't think a multiverse like this has been done.
Well, I mean, there's a gajillion sci-fi novels I haven't read.
True. I mean,
but like in a mass media type way, and like what made me excited about it is that it's sort of it's a more basic alternate reality story in some way, because we are dealing with two timelines that converge at a specific point. Rather that diverge at a specific point, right? And that
they diverge at the moment the pod universe was created.
Yes, in 2020. And that makes it kind of cool in that we're not going to be dealing with like the infinite possibilities thing. What I like is that we're not building a multiverse that's built around human choice, which is always a very narratively convenient way to think about it, but has no basis in physics.
Yeah.
That's just like a cool comic book thing. And cool comic book things have had enough oxygen right now in our current pop culture sphere. We wanted to do something different with it.
And also we wanted... Our saga is predominantly going to take place in the pod universe.
Yeah.
This is our home universe. And like, we may stray outside it from time to time. But I, particularly in phase 1, I'll spoil this now. Late adopters, which I talked about in the last one, is going to be about this quantum computing breakdown that happens in the Prime universe that leads to people wanting to jump ship.
Part of the train of thought that got us here was that you read an article about how quantum computing could potentially basically destroy the world as we know it.
Yeah.
And the future that it projected based on that. And you were like, I want to tell a story around that.
Yeah.
And that linked really well with the idea of doing the multiverse, because part of quantum computing that's really cool is that instead of having ones and zeros in these sort of these sort of magnetized bits, right? Instead, you're using radiation to manipulate electrons, usually of a particular, I forget what the popular element is to do this with, but you are basically moving electrons that are theoretically in infinite positions at any given time into one of three relative positions, which is being up spin, spin up, spin down, or superposition, which is uncertainty, which is that by as far as we're concerned, it's in both places at once. And these are really fun ideas to fuck around with.
Basically, yeah. I'll talk.
There's so many YouTube videos about quantum physics that I know that I consulted about this. You probably read a book.
I'll talk more about quantum computing later in the phase. But yeah, so here was the sequence of events that brought us here. We realized that we couldn't keep doing the dark universe forever.
Yep.
So
let's give it an ending and move on.
We were thinking of, well, what's the show after that? And we couldn't call it Are You Afraid of the Dark Universe? I came up with the idea for the pod universe because we're a podcast, right? It is a podcast cinematic universe.
And by all rights, we could have left it at that. That could be the whole explanation for what the title of the show is.
And then, but because we came up with the pod universe, I was like, well, to at least tie it in, we should do Pod People. We should do a Pod People movie,
right?
And that'll somewhat justify.
Because we thought at first that the next saga of the Dark Universe was going to be about aliens and stuff, right?
Yes.
So we were already kind of thinking about doing something in that vein.
We were already thinking sci-fi, so we came over with the Pod People, and then much later, I was thinking about, how do we do a unique spin on the Pod People tale? And I did the thing I usually do, which was, well, what if you take the original thing and you just turn it backwards? And so, okay, Body Snatchers is about people from another world invading our world, copies coming in. And I thought, well, what if we turn that backwards and it turned out we were the copies? Well, how would that work? And I thought of this parallel universe, and then I was like, shit, this would be the pod universe. Suddenly, it's not just we're a podcast cinematic universe.
Now there's a pun involved.
Now the saga is about a pod universe, and it all fits holistically.
Yeah, I gotta tell you, and I had my doubts about that because it's the kind of thing where I'm like, all right, are we really going to build our whole world around a silly pun? But because the pun was just kind of a coincidence, like you kind of came up with a cool idea that happened to link back with it, I don't know. It was it's become something I'm very excited about, and the idea of doing this really kind of like wrung dry sci-fi concept in a different way than at least we've absorbed it before. Leave some stuff in the comments if you know of similar stories along these lines. I'm sure there's always something, right?
I mean, there are there's that movie The Island with Ewan McGregor, and for Mystery Science Theater fans, Parts the Clonus Horror, which are stories about clones that are raised for their organs, right? So that rich people can harvest their clones for their bodies once they get older and need these things. And this is just sort of that taken to an even larger degree, where it's a whole
if y'all didn't
universe.
Think our story was going to have a strong anti-capitalist bent, then you're watching the wrong show.
Well, and we also pointed out this is sort of the opposite of... This is the dark universe in reverse, because the dark universe, we find out as the saga goes on that our Earth was created by hell to harvest pain. And now we're starting with the knowledge that our whole universe was created by another universe.
And now they're figuring out a way to exploit it.
Yes.
I like playing with the idea that a lot of great scientific discoveries are made sort of in the pursuit of something else.
Yeah.
It's one of the reasons why the space program was such a huge boost to our modern technology, in that they were trying to solve a bunch of problems and that were unique to this particular task. And in the process of doing that, they ended up inventing a ton of other stuff.
Yeah.
And we were talking about quantum computing and the way that we took us a pretty long time to figure out exactly the sequence of events that would give us what we needed to play with for the next 30 odd movies. And one thing that I focused on, as it was actually one of the little footnotes when I wrote basically a pitch of how I think it all went down, and some of that ended up in the final thing. But I know that you also had stuff you had kind of brainstormed for late adopters, so I'm not sure how much of that document's going to end up being canon.
Yeah.
But one of the little things I wrote at the end about future story ideas is being like, so far everything on this doc is set on Earth. But this is a whole universe where this happened.
Yeah,
these are the repercussions that we know some of the specifics about what's happened physically, like in terms of the movement of the spheres and such. That immediately a story that I've sort of had a similar story in my head for a long time. That this was like, oh, this could be that, and that sets up where I'm headed with Last Flight of the Stone Hammer, which is next month's script. Where we're going to tell a story set in far off distant space with none of these characters.
Yeah.
And the planet of Earth is not a feature in the film. You'll love this, Dalton. It's a space movie where none of it takes place on Earth. And
love that.
But the events mentioned in this film will have an impact on what happens there and be momentous there, that kind of starts tied all together. So
yeah, that's the thing, is we really let us know, in the comments or on the Discord or on social media, if you think this worked as a standalone, because we don't want it to feel like the pilot of a series.
Yeah.
And so immediately we are not just going to be investigating this exact dynamic that we explored in this movie. The idea is we have a whole universe now that has been constructed under these very specific conditions. Let's see how that impacts the far reaches of space. Let's see how that impacts the past, right? I mean, now we have a universe that was created in the year 2020. So how exactly does that universe's past exist, and what does that look like, is something I'm going to explore in Los Alamos. What does the Prime universe look like? That's what we'll do in Late Adopters. And then we were cagey about it last episode, but now that the cat's out of the bag, War of the Worlds will circle around as sort of this battle for dominance between the Pod universe and the Prime universe. It will not necessarily be an alien invasion movie, but a universal invasion movie.
That will make us very distinct from the Ice Cube movie.
Yes, very.
That way too many people hate
place
watched.
On a laptop screen.
Yeah,
and
I mean, you will all be watching it on a laptop screen or listening to it on earbuds. So,
and it
or
will,
in the car.
And it will be about the future of delivery, Amazon drones. But why don't we get into our post-credits scene?
That's right.
Because we've got one last little curveball.
Thing. And like with so many post-credit scenes, this one's for the sickos.
Yes.
Okay? For the people who have been with us a long time, we got a little treat for you.
Post-credit scene. 2 Alterr custodians pitch through the remnants of the lab where Vincent was held. Christian and Prime Vincent's bodies have been placed in body bags, but still lie close to where they fell. The custodians talk to each other.
How bad do you think Mr. D's wrath is going to be? You think he lays off a whole team again?
I think the only person he'd want to fire for this is in that body bag over there.
No way. This is going to go all the way down. Like, I hope he doesn't find out that we're the ones doing the cleanup, in case he puts us out on our ass just for being here.
Another custodian pops in the doorway, out of breath. Hey, Mr. D is here.
Fuck, let's clear out.
They close up their containment bags and hustle to the doorway.
Why would the CEO risk coming here now? Isn't this like a biohazard?
I mean, they told us we didn't need special gear.
Well, yeah, because they don't care whether we live or die.
Just before they get to the doorway, they're stopped by a 4-man security detail entering in front of them. The 2 custodians back up as the guards take their places on either side of the doorway. Moments later, they're followed by a woman in a violet pantsuit. This is Mitra, played by Risha Morjani of Fargo and Alien Earth. She stops short when she sees them.
Who are you?
Richards, ma'am. Stuart Richards. I'm custodial head for this floor. This is Alan, my number 2.
She looks at them, unsatisfied.
Stay where you are. I'm sure your CEO would like a word with you.
She turns to the door.
All clear, Vladimir.
A man enters in a sleek, tailored black suit. He is played by Mads Mikkelsen. He looks at the custodians with disdain.
Who are they?
Janitors for the floor, sir.
Custodian 1 speaks, a tremble in his voice.
Mr. Draculea, sir, we were given the call this morning. Kill them.
One of the guards steps forward and shoots both custodians clean in the forehead.
Dispose of them. Take the Estrellas to the research lab on 5. Then comb through the remains. See how bad the damage is.
Mitra approaches him from behind.
They've taken out our triangulation backups. Imports have been brought to a total halt.
That's fine. We'll rebuild. Off-site this time.
Sir, it could take months.
That's fine.
Close up on his satisfied smile.
This entire universe belongs to me. We have all the time in the world.
Cut to black. All right, so that's the post-credit scene.
Let's decode this for the people who did not listen to the old show. We don't want this to be an inaccessible thing. It's simply a little bridge from the old show to the new show.
But for the real sickos out there, when we talked about in this movie Pod People, the glass tube with the titanium capped ends that was used to create a universe,
got a little itty bitty particle of dark matter in there.
That may have reminded you of something from the very finale of Hell on Earth, the finale of our dark universe, which is also what created their universe. And Dracula's little post-credit scene there about wanting to escape to a new universe. Well,
it looks like he might have done that.
Now, is Vladimir Draculia, is he a vampire here? I'm gonna say no.
I think no. I think there's no vampires. I think I've been pretty strict about trying to remain pretty much plausible scientifically for everything that we do in this saga.
But he is something worse than a vampire, which is a tech
billionaire.
Yeah, a tech CEO who is doing some blood sucking of his own anyway. I'm sure he has a blood boy. They all got
blood boys.
Yeah, our sort of head of Alterr, Vladimir Draculia. Now, how is he involved in all of this? I don't know.
You're gonna have to. Well, I think you probably know a little bit.
But yeah. Now,
I have some ideas.
If you didn't listen to the Dark Universe, that is fine.
It's totally fine. You don't have to. All you have to know basically is he's a bad man.
And he's played by
Mads Mikkelsen, and he's got a spooky name. And he might not be from around these parts.
Yeah.
Any more information that you'll need to know about the context for this character in the past, we will give to you.
Yes.
You can always listen to Dark Universe if you want to. We're pretty proud of it. But Dracula is a public domain character.
Yes.
So, we thought it would be fun to make a little
this
bridge.
was not even a vampire. So.
It's not even a vampire. It's just a guy named Vlad Draculia.
So here we are 3 episodes later, and I think I can finally say earnestly, welcome to the Pod Universe.
Welcome to the Pod Universe, everybody.
Because that finale, we wanted to make a self-contained movie that at the end just opens up infinite possibilities for us. And
ironically, in a universe where they're no longer creating infinite possibilities.
Yes. But we've got a lot of corners of this to explore. This is the Pod Universe. This is the sci-fi cinematic universe that never was. And we hope you're along for the ride.
Yeah.
We will see Vincent and Stephanie and both Liams again, I'm sure, but not in the Stone Hammer.
No, you will see no familiar characters in Last Flight of the Stone Hammer.
And not in Los Alamos, because none of them were born yet.
Yeah, so, we're really excited for what's up ahead. Next week, patrons, you'll get a new episode of the bonus pod where we're going to have to pitch a Dark Universe version of Bottoms. And then I take a test to determine whether or not I'm trans.
Yes.
Right off, anything for you all, right? Anything for our adoring public. And then the week after that, we'll have our first guest pitch.
Yes, which we don't know who it is yet, but we're working on a couple things. Let's give our patron shout outs. And remember, if you want to join the conversation about the pod universe, head on over to patreon.com/Dylan and Dalton and talk with people about the movie you just heard. Like these fine people.
We want to give a big thanks to our executive producers. These are patrons who sign up at the $15 a month level and therefore buy themselves a shout out on everything we record while they're there. Thank you, Brent Dreyer, Brian Egan, Mar Bendlar, Matt Thackeray, Soonmot, Speep, and Mike Lee Whiplash. And thank you to our studio executives. These are the folks at the $25 a month level who, in addition to their shout out, gets to pick one of the movies, such as Bottoms, that we have to riff on in the bonus pod. Thank you to Alyssa, the Pazuzu apologist, Bill French, Beerus, Brandon Bullock, Jasper Stark, Joe Valiant, Jonathan Morgantini, Cadel, Moose, Rich Mays, and Tom Webster. And until next time...
Wait, before we go, let's get a camera zoom in on Weenie here, because it's almost always Holly on camera, and this time Weenie's
a rare
here.
Weenie sighting here on the pod.
Let's cut to the Weenie cam. Oh, he's shy. He's going away. Oh, before we go, absolutely thanks to my lovely fiance, Sarah Norcross, for voicing so many characters, including Stephanie Lee.
Let's go to camera C.
Camera C? All right, there she is. All right, we'll see you next time.
Bye-bye.
Bye.